Next up on our exclusive Cigar Dave video coverage from the 2018 International Premium Cigar Convention in Las Vegas, Alec Bradley Cigars. I have featured their cigars in the Officers Club probably for the last 7-8 years. Great sticks. They've got some very nice new blends that I've sampled. So let's go in and take a look. We'll say hello to Alec Rubin and his sons Alec Rubin and Bradley Rubin, who the company is named after. And let's see, look who's working the espresso machine, the big guy himself. Look who we've run into, operating the espresso machine. If it isn't Alan Rubin himself, the CEO, the founder of the company, he's a barista now. It's unbelievable what you do.
I like espresso, so would you like one?
Absolutely, I need some caffeination.
I would love to give you a little.
We've got lightation ceremony, libation ceremony, and now we're going to have caffeination ceremony. I'm impressed you know how to work this fancy.
It's one button.
Oh, one button? Okay, beautiful.
You're all about the inations, the caffeinations.
All about the good life, the alpha male pleasure maneuvers.
Absolutely.
And as we look around, your booth is jam-packed, a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz today.
Absolutely. It's a good show, good start. I love this show. This is a chance to see friends and write business and see acquaintances that sometimes you only get to see once a year.
But I see you more than once a year because I come down to Alec Bradley corporate headquarters, palatial headquarters.
What do we do when you're there?
We smoke cigars.
We do.
We have not gone to lunch in a while, by the way.
That's correct.
George Sosa, your VP of Sales, thank you very much.
Yes.
Cheers to everybody. George Sosa tells many politically incorrect jokes.
Always.
We just kind of bullshit for a couple hours and have some laughs.
Yeah, a lot of times there's libations involved.
Last time we did. What did we have last time?
I think the last time we had the Hudson 4-grain whiskey.
Hudson, that's right. We had the Hudson Baby Bourbon or the four grain.
Yeah, out of the Tuttletown Distillery.
That's correct. Up in upstate New York, Albany.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, I was with the people from William Grant last night at our sales meeting. They came and did a presentation. They have a new launch coming out end of this month. I'm not allowed to say anything yet, but going to be spectacular. We're doing pairings with them now. So that's exciting stuff.
Well, we'll come down to Alec Bradley headquarters and have some libation cigars. Now, I have just been handed a brand new cigar. Looking at this stick, look at that is an Oscuro. That is super, super dark wrapper, almost a deep dark chocolate, nice and oily. Tell me about this stick. Brand new.
Yeah, Magic Toast. We're launching at the show this year. Kind of a cool story behind it, but we had a Tempest, we had a Maduro in the Tempest line, and we just felt like the Tempest line was expanding so much that we ended up getting rid of, removing the Tempest Maduro line away out of that line, and we had room for a Maduro, and it worked out. We were down in Central America. I was down in the fields. I didn't even know the night that I came in that we were going to the fields. I thought we were going directly to the factory where we normally have some coffee, a drink, a cigar, and catch up before the next day when we start. And we went right past the factory. We went right to the fields. And he said, I need to show you something. And
Magic Toast.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that name?
It happened to be, it actually came out of going to the fields. It was, we saw this tobacco that I hadn't seen. It was getting really late. It was getting late. We actually had the lights on, like from the vehicle that we were driving in, and we went into where the barns were, and I'm looking at this tobacco, and I said, I needed something that was dark and rich and oily, and we lit something up, and we got the aromatics off it, and I kind of just said, we actually had a bottle with us, because he knows we like to, participate in a little drinking while we're down there, and kind of celebrate each other, and he said, I have a bottle in the car, and I said, I think this tobacco is going to be magical. I said, there's something about it I haven't seen in a long time, and let's make a toast. I go, we'll call it a Magic Toast.
Well, tell you what, I like my toast burnt, and this looks almost burnt, not in a bad way. So that's kind of, if I would look at it, I'd say Magic Toast. Hey, listen, now when I taste it, I wonder it's going to have like buttery cream cheese, little strawberry notes, right?
Smear.
A little smear of this, a smear of that. And this is, I love your burner, the lighter that you guys have come out exclusively about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I got 3 of them at home. Every time I come see them, like I need another one. I have one for my office, one for the Pleasure Palace. This is now called the Mega Burner. Now, not only will this light your cigar, but if you are in a pinch survival mode, you put a filet mignon, a New York strip, or a hot dog, it will cook your food.
And there's
your
plenty,
meat.
plenty of fluid, right?
Low.
Yeah.
Now this is a prototype, correct?
No, actually,
It's come out already.
No, these are not out yet. But this is a mold that we had done. You know, the story behind the burner was I was tired of looking for lighters on my desk.
Right.
So I needed something larger that I didn't have to fill all the time. And that was the burner. Now with the mega burner, we just wanted to come out with something that was, you know, even to the next level. But as you look, it still has a standard flame. With that mushroom flame, it lights the cigar really perfectly.
It really does.
Yeah, and so what we wanted to do is give opportunities for people to really embrace the artwork behind it, and what you're holding is actually one of a collector series. So we're going to have the standard Alec Bradley Mega Burner, but we also have a collector series of all this artwork that we're doing. How cool is that, seriously?
That's great. That's fantastic.
I love that.
It's my favorite lightation.
Yeah, so...
By the way, this will fit in my pocket. Thanks, Alan, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Look at it.
We'll talk about it at the end of the show.
It's called Gatorade Blue. How do you like that?
So, and that was it. So we wanted to do something cool. As you can see here, it says limited edition of 500. Each of the artworks, and we're working with different artists to come up with different pieces. We're going to do 500 pieces. Once they're gone, they're gone. We'll go into the next iteration.
What is the suggested retail going to be on these mega burners?
That's a great question, and you'd think I'd know that, but I don't right now.
Now, right off the bat, on this Magic Toast, getting some sharpness, some mega flavor right on the tip of the tongue, and it's perfect balance with this Nespresso, because you've got one of the bolder Nespresso capsules. Take a sip here. Very nice. Nice pairing. Take another puff here. I'm getting a little rye bread on here, I got to tell you. Or pumpernickel, one of the two.
A little challah.
A little challah, a little pumpernickel, you know. But I'll tell you, this is really, this is not for an amateur cigar connoisseur. This is for an experienced connoisseur that wants a ton of flavor, not overpowering, but really wants a heart. It's almost like somebody that wants a spicy meal. This is a spicy cigar.
Right. It should be very satisfying. And what happens? So let me explain one part of the process.
Let's walk over as we go.
All right.
As you cut your cigar and use your mega burner. And we're going to go along the wall that's got all the Alec Bradley cigars. Also, we're going to be joined by Alec Rubin and Bradley Rubin in just a few minutes. But we're going to take a walk over. So Alan, come on. And by the way, let's talk about the naming of Alec Bradley Cigars, because I remember early on, I'm like, wait a minute, your name is Alan Rubin. Who the hell is Alec and who's Bradley?
And now you know.
I thought it was Milton Bradley. Maybe it was a relative of Milton Bradley, the game maker. And you told me it's named after my two sons, Alec and Bradley, and that was what, 20 years ago?
Correct. I mean, I started the business 22 years ago. They were 1 and 4 at the time. But anyway, hey guys, could you do me a favor? Could you get the music turned down just a touch? Thanks. So, where are we starting? We're starting with Magic Toast? Okay, so let me tell you.
You know, let's do this. Let's go to Fine and Rare, because then we'll bring in Alec and Bradley to talk about it, because I know they were involved in that, and they've got another cigar that they're involved with, which is
correct.
Some cool artwork, which we'll talk about. But Fine and Rare has been an explosive hit for you.
Yes.
Very limited.
Yes. So we only do 2,000 boxes. And this one, I think in 2018, as you can see, we did 2,500 pieces, because the international desire for this cigar has grown through the roof. And so we were able to start the production processes earlier. The one really nice thing, there's so many cool things about Fine and Rare that I are very near and dear to my heart. First and foremost, when you look at the band, has a lot of information. It has how many cigars were rolled every week. It's signed by the factory supervisor. It's signed by both Ralph and I. We're very, very proud of this, because we talk about Ralph Montero, who's an icon in this business, as you know.
Absolutely.
And so, and this is, we work with different tobaccos, but we always have stayed with this 10 tobacco kind of mixture, this blend. I think we're the only cigar in the world that actually combines 10 different tobaccos in a single cigar. Now, if we weren't able to cut actually just the most flavorful part of the leaf, you'd have to smoke a baseball bat, right? 10 different leaves. But what we do is we take just the richest part of the tobacco, and we actually fine cut, that piece and utilize those pieces to make this cigar. So it's just something very near and dear to my heart. It's something I'm very proud of, and people have embraced it. I can tell you internationally, I can sell every bit of production we have just
2,500 boxes, that's it.
That's it.
Why? Is it because the tobacco is just that difficult to obtain?
Well, first of all, it takes actually our master rollers, the highest level rollers we have. We've been using the same pairs of rollers, the same 2 pair, since the beginning of the production. And so they know what they're doing and they know how to work the tobaccos. But how can you take 10 tobaccos and put it in? If you don't know what you're doing, that's a very, very difficult process.
Right.
And so we don't want to tax them. There's only a certain amount they're allowed to roll every week. And there's some rejections because of the wrapper color, certain things of that nature. And so it's worked. So why change it?
Made in Honduras?
Made in Honduras at Raíces Cubanas.
Raíces Cubanas. And that's a great factory.
Yeah.
You were really the launch partner, if you will, on that factory because they make the overwhelming majority of what they make goes to Alec Bradley Cigars.
Correct. We take probably 85 or 90%, and the truth is we like the other guys in there. We think it's good because they bring ideas as well. We always try and bring ideas to the factory, but you know, they are truly great factory partners for us, and there's a lot of innovation, and they've just been a great family to work with, and we basically feel we're family. I mean,
yeah, and I know you've told me for a number of years you've kind of really worked with them on production because to you quality is paramount, and there were times when you said, hey, we're pulling back until we get the quality that we want.
Right.
And I remember coming to your office and you telling me, I just don't have the product, but I'm not going to rush it, and that was a lot of stress at that time.
Well, there were a couple of things. When we got the #1 cigar, the 2011 #1 cigar of the year, and then we went into 2012's productions, everything was through the roof. And the problem was we didn't have the processes in place to build that kind of production capacities, and we fell short. And so I had to relook at every single process at that time. I'm talking about from the fields, the seedlings, fertilizations, how we were processing tobaccos in pre-industry, to talking about keeping the air conditions on and off during the packaging. You know, there were so many, every little detail that we looked at, but we're back, and I believe we got it right. I think we're making the best cigars we've ever made right now. And the future, I think, is just very bright for our company.
Suggested retail for the fine and rare?
I know that always hovers around $20 a cigar.
So there's only premium
10
cigar,
per box, yeah.
10 per box, 2,500 boxes, 25,000, that's it.
Yeah.
And on the flavor profile, more medium plus to full?
You know, I think it's maybe a touch above medium, but this is a cigar that if you give it the time that it's due, where you're just sitting down and you have an hour and a half with a really fine aged whiskey, even a non-aged statement whiskey, and you just let it do its thing, there's no better moment. I'll give an example. I was in Houston doing a charity event about a month and a half ago, and there was a bottle of Glenfiddich 30-year-old there.
Great, can't go wrong with Glenfiddich 30.
And I had our fine and rare. And there was, like I said, about 30 people. They were raising money for a great charity for one night. My friend called me and said, hey, can you come out? If you can come out and we have the whiskey, we'll raise the money in the night. And it's hard to say no when it's a charity for children. And so everyone was there, and there was a moment, I was sitting there with a 30-year-old whiskey and fine and rare, and I texted my guy who is with Glenfiddich, he's the brand manager, and I said, fine and rare and Glenfiddich 30, I said, it's a moment in life that you shouldn't miss. It was just that moment of saying, life doesn't really get much better than this.
We had some Glenfiddich at Alec Bradley headquarters. I remember that.
They're our whiskey partners worldwide.
Exactly. Yeah. Fantastic. So fine and rare, 2,500 boxes of 10. That's it. Medium plus cigar. 10 different types of tobacco. And when they're gone, this run is gone.
That's it.
All right, now let's move along here because the magic toast that I'm smoking that we started to talk about, this particular cigar, I'll tell you the notes that I'm getting right now. It's softened up a little bit as I'm about 1/4 of an inch in. I'm getting some espresso and some dark chocolate notes. It's very smooth, a lot of flavor, but no bite, no bitterness whatsoever.
Okay, so to get the wrapper as dark as it is, you have to have a very rich, sturdy tobacco to work with.
Right.
And what happens is, in this darkness, this comes out of the fermentation. And when you can work the fermentation a little bit longer, what happens is you open up and you allow all those sugars and all those flavors to come out. So that's the sweetness that you're getting out of it. And it really has a lot to do with the tobacco in itself. But as I told you the story earlier, we knew the tobacco was special from the time that we tasted it for the first time, and we smelled the aromatics off of it for the first time.
So this is a Honduran or Nicaraguan Maduro?
It's a Honduran.
Honduran Maduro. And again, very hearty. So this is not a ton of sweetness, but
Right.
that's not the intent. Definitely a heartier cigar, rich, but very balanced.
And that's what we were looking for on this. And what happens is a lot of times people see a darker cigar and they think it's stronger. And that's really not what Maduro does. That's not what rich dark tobacco does. What happens is in the fermentation, you lose a lot of that harshness and the bite, and you get the real flavor of the tobacco. And that's what we wanted to work with. So what you should be getting is the balance.
Yep.
You should be getting some light sweetness.
Now I am. I just started to pick it up.
That's it, right
Just
there.
started. Took about a half an inch, just over a quarter of an inch, half an inch. Now it's starting to slowly come up. But it's interesting from lighting the cigar and how it's slowly changed along the way.
Well, the reason that happens too is the way we build the cigar. We believe that cigar smokers want to know that they're smoking right from the beginning, right from the first light.
Right.
So the way we build the cigar is when they're taking the tobaccos, we actually put a little bit of the stronger, a little bit heavier of the tobacco.
Towards the bottom.
Yeah, so that
the foot.
when they, towards the foot, so when they light it, they're like, okay, I'm into my cigar. And then it really starts to smooth into the
does.
flavor, and wait till you see the sweetness continue to build on
And
that
usually it's
cigar.
the opposite. Usually it starts off a little bit tamer
Right.
and then builds to a crescendo of major fullness.
Well, if you think about it, let's just talk about economics, okay? If a guy spends, let's just say, $10 for a 5-inch cigar, and it doesn't get good for
Right.
the first inch,
Right.
he just spent $10 for a 4-inch cigar, right? So, and he doesn't maybe smoke the last inch to now
well, you know what they
$10
say,
for a 3-inch
an
cigar.
inch can make a difference, or a few
so,
inches.
So we just want to make sure that the consumer gets what he's paying for, and that he starts to get that level of satisfaction right from the first light.
All right, before we continue on, because we're
Yes.
going to talk about blind faith,
Okay.
and we're going to bring in Alec Rubin and Bradley Rubin in
Yes.
just a minute. Come on in, guys.
You're done.
And here we've got Alec Rubin.
out.
No, you're not out. You're not out yet. Wait, get back. Hold on a second. So let's introduce, first of all, we've got Alec Rubin. How old are you now, Alec?
26.
26. I remember 26. Very dangerous. And we've got Bradley Rubin. How old are you?
23.
23. By the way, you both look like your mother. That's a good thing.
It is. Agreed. Agreed, absolutely.
I'm just kidding.
That's okay. I'm married to the most beautiful woman in the world.
No, I know her. She's very nice. Why she selected you, I can't figure.
I
Nobody
have
can
no
figure
clue.
it out, Alan. I got
Nobody.
to tell you. I
Right.
mean,
Nobody has that answer.
nobody knows. It's amazing. And she's put up with you how many years now?
29 years.
But she said it feels like 49. That's what she told me.
She said, yeah, she's been the shortest 49 years of my life.
Now, I remember the Tempest. Let's
Yeah.
go back with a story.
Sure.
Talked about how I come down to visit at Alec Bradley headquarters in Fort Lauderdale. So this has got to be 10 years ago? I come down.
Yeah, just over 10 years
We
ago.
go to her. They were you and it was George Sosa and Ralph Montero said, let's go out to lunch. There's a place cigar friendly outside, like a sports themed restaurant, about 3 minutes from their office. And Alan pulls out these cigars. I said, what is it? He said, just light it up. So I light it up, and I first half inch, I'm like, this is fantastic. What is it? And you say, this cigar is going to be called Tempest, which is Latin for time.
Right.
And it's very appropriate because when I said, when is it coming out? You said next year. That was Jewish time or Cuban time because it was like 3 years later, right? And it should be, I think you should change it to Long Tempest, long
Right.
time. But because when it finally came out, the cigar was off the charts. And that was a big hit for you, still is a big hit.
Yeah, it was a game changer for our company because
Right.
it changed the profile of what we were bringing into the marketplace. It gave us immediate exposure. We've had a few of those along the way.
Right.
But Tempest was a true game changer for our company.
And every time I'd see you, I'd say, Alan, Tempest, when's it coming out? It's come. Sit tight.
Time.
It's coming.
Time.
It's coming.
It takes
It's
time.
coming.
That's why it's called Tempest.
And it did take time, but when it came out, it was great. And you've had some changes because you got the natural and now the Tempest Nicaragua. So you've
Right.
changed some things. We featured, I think, the Nicaragua in our recent Officers Club selection. Nice, hearty cigar. So a lot of flavor, but not, again, overpowering, but each has a little different flavor profile.
Absolutely. Tempest Nicaragua truly, I think, embraces the Nicaraguan tobacco style. A little bit earthier, probably not as sweet, I'd say.
Well, a little heartier.
A little heartier, yeah.
Yep.
Like I said, we had the Tempest Maduro, but we felt like if we removed the Tempest Maduro, it gave room for Magic Toast to come into the market.
All right, so Magic Toast, tell me about the packaging here. I see like a bumblebee, I see a pyramid. What's the background? What's the there's got to be a story behind Magic Toast.
Well, the truth is if you look at the story I had mentioned about being in the fields,
right?
That's a little bit of that, the stars in the fields
Stars,
type of thing.
the moon, right?
Right, and actually that's a moth with the AB and the moon.
I just noticed that.
Yeah, the moon's up and down. So it was really about just capturing that one moment that we felt like we found this pretty spectacular tobacco.
And I like the rustic box.
Yeah.
Very unique, very
Well,
cool.
again, we were fields and drying barns, so it was
Right.
really just encompassing that moment in time and saying, how do we bring that moment in time into the market?
3 sizes, Robusto, I see is it Magnum and
Toro,
Toro,
yeah.
and suggested retail.
I don't know.
9 to 10.
That's
What's that?
It's $9 to $10.
9 to 10.
Yeah, I have to look
9
at
to
the
10.
sheet. That's not my job here.
His job is to make my Nespresso. The Nespresso. That's
How'd
the
I
job.
do?
Little weak, but you got
Okay.
potential.
Thank
There's
you.
a barista.
I'll work
Dude,
on it.
Keep your day job.
I'll see you. I'll see you in 4.
Don't go to Starbucks and apply to become a barista. No, actually it was good. Listen, how can you?
I have to put up with people like you if I do that. I'm not.
How
doing
can
it.
you screw up an espresso? You put the capsule in, you press the button, and it makes it
That's
for
all.
you.
That's
the beauty.
That's all
of
I
it.
got, Dave.
That's all you have to do.
That's it.
All right, now let's bring in Alec and Bradley Rubin
Go.
as we transition here to the next generation. Now, first of all, Alan, I'm looking at this. Looks to me like a Sony Trinitron 19-inch with the old manual tuner. Remember, Alan, where we actually had to get up out of the chair
That's correct.
before remote and go to channels 2 through 13 or UHF? You guys don't remember that.
Absolutely ridiculous.
You guys grew up with cable, 188 channels. We had to actually get, by the way, in college, I had a 13-inch GE black and white TV with rabbit ears. You probably did too.
Oh, you're older than me.
No, I'm younger than you are. How old are you?
56.
I'm 54. Don't give me this bullshit that you never had black and white. Don't give me this nonsense. You know you had a black and white TV with the old manual, clicker.
And the years.
And the rabbit ears, and you'd have to adjust it.
Correct.
And if you moved the wrong way, the signal wouldn't come in. But
Those are on there with the years.
I see, you got the rabbit ears. Now let's talk about this.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a TV test pattern. I see Alec Bradley with the rabbit ears. I see somebody with a suit, Blind Faith AB with the color bars.
Yep.
Talk to me, what does this represent?
All right, so it kind of represents a multitude of things. So first of all, when it comes to the TV and these color bars, which are called SMPTE color bars.
Very good. SMPT standards, very
Yes.
good.
So then, and also like you mentioned, the test patterns. It's something that, if you watch TVs, in the 80s and 90s, you've seen these before. Everyone knows them. It's just an iconic thing that whether you can think of it off the top of your head or not, you've seen these before. And
That's when TV stations went off the air at night.
Exactly.
Okay, now they don't. You and I remember that,
Exactly.
Alan. That's
We
right.
remember that.
You remember that too?
We're 90s
Yeah.
kids, we're good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So this was something that just always resonated with me. It was very cool. I thought it was something that more of like an older school cigar smoker would be able to recognize. Very iconic and very cool, and as well as younger cigar smokers that like the old school retro look, that has the old TV. It has the knob, Alec and Bradley on top, A and B in the center.
And Blind Faith, nice and elegant on the bottom.
And what does
pulled
blind
together.
faith represent? The fact that your father had blind faith in you guys to come up with something good?
Not only that, but for the consumers to have blind faith in us and our
Yeah.
capabilities and our blend and our artwork and everything that
This is the first cigars that we're blending ourselves. He gave us full control on this. We came up with the artwork, we came up with the blend completely ourselves, went down to the factories to blend it.
Yep.
Everything was on us.
Yeah.
I was wondering
So
when
you have to-
last time I saw him at headquarters, he was pacing back and forth. I go, what's the matter? I got blind faith in these guys, I'm worried. But I understand it's become a big hit. In fact, Alan, make yourself useful. How about getting us an Alec Bradley blind faith?
I can do that.
Because
Thank
I'm
you, sir.
enjoying this
He doesn't
magic
have to.
toast. Oh wait,
Of
look
course
at
I got
this.
one on me.
Beautiful. Now wait, I've got a cutter, but I need,
I've
look
got
at
a
this, the
cutter.
guy's prepared. Hold on a second. Wait, I'm gonna change cigars. Wait a minute, hold on. I've got an Alec Bradley
Dave,
cutter.
While you're lighting and cutting, and I don't want to step on these guys because this is truly, I have to tell you, as a business owner, it's one thing saying, hey, there's young guys coming in. When it's your kids, you become the father, right?
Right.
Okay. So from the beginning, I said, I'm here if you need my help, and I'll give you my opinion if you ask. But other than that, this is
You're
on
on your
you.
own.
And I want the brand. The only thing I asked of them is make sure the brand represents you guys.
Oh, there it is. Got it.
So
I'm a fan.
I didn't know if you got that on TV. Okay.
The beauty of, listen,
Amateur move.
Fred's job is to make me look good, make you guys look okay.
So basically, he has the toughest job on the show floor.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. Actually, I'll explain. I had trouble opening up this lighter, first of all. I opened it up, and then there's a secondary band by the foot, and I was about to light it until they caught it. But again, nobody saw that on camera, so it didn't officially happen.
Okay, and we're not editing that out.
This is live, man. This is it.
But I want to tell you something. So this was really important as a family. One was that my wife basically, their mom said, I like the fact that they're getting involved and that they're in the business because they want to be in the business.
Right.
But
And
the
you
other,
didn't press them. You didn't force them.
No. I told them,
never.
listen, do anything that makes you want to get up in the morning.
Right.
Anything that makes you excited to get up in the morning, go to work, go do that. And we'll support you in that. And they both decided to come into business, which obviously makes my wife and I very proud. But the other part of this is that I said it has to speak to you. The brand has to speak to you. So I'll be here to support you if you need my help on something. But if not, this is all you. I wanted them to feel the same pressures of whether they succeed or fail, whatever they do, but I wanted it to be theirs. I wanted them to feel that pressure, because it was the same pressure I felt when I started.
We feel the pressure.
And they feel the pressure.
Yeah, we're feeling it.
But one of the things that we've always talked about is if you're getting into the business, you have a choice to make. You can either be Alan's sons, or you can be Alec and Bradley.
Correct.
And you have to make your own name and your own credibility.
Right.
So I think when they came up with the blind faith was, Dad, are these people, are the consumers going to believe in us? How do they have the faith in us? And I said, well, I'm not saying that they do. And basically blind faith, I think, was born out of that. That was a big part of it. But their artwork, their blend, their design, their decisions, and I'm so excited for them, and I know that my wife, their mom, is so excited for them to see how they do. But in another note, just as you can see on the artwork, it's a blue suit with a brown tie. And if you look,
blue suit, brown ties. Look at it, all blue suits, brown ties.
and this was honoring my sons, getting into the business really for themselves. We're here to support them as a company, but this is not Alec Bradley, this is Alec and Bradley. And I couldn't be prouder as a dad, I can tell you that.
Well, I can tell you right off the bat, very, very smooth cigar, some creaminess, a little bit of like cashew, a nut type of flavor. Definitely tamer than the Magic Toast, not as robust. Very, very pleasant, nice draw, very, very nice. And I should say, you also have the resources of a guy like Ralph Montero and at the factory, guys that are going to point you in the right direction.
Exactly.
So, and Alan, you had Ralph, but you didn't have that luxury when you started of saying, hey, people know who Alec Rubin was. It was a little different story.
Very.
So you guys have really used the resources properly and effectively, because this cigar, very, very nice.
The first time that we went down to the factories and started blending our own cigars, to be completely honest with you, they were awful. They were completely awful.
Yeah.
I think.
Did you tell when you went to which factory did you go to?
We went to Placencia, we went to TDO, and we went to Rice's.
So, did you tell them the blends, what you were looking to do?
Well, when we first started blending for the first time, we went to each factory. We worked with the master blenders there on our cigars to figure out how we were going to learn how to do this.
Right.
And then we ended up working with Hugo at Rice's Cubanas to get the cigar where we wanted it to be. We knew kind of what tobaccos we wanted. We knew how we wanted to taste. We knew the strength level we wanted to be at. And it took probably 5 different iterations of going through it until we got it where we wanted.
All right, so clearly you wanted more of a medium, approachable cigar.
Just wait. You're not going to call that medium in a little bit.
So as the opposite of that, which started off heavy and tame, this starts off tame and gets heavy.
This gets heavy. Yeah. This has, So what we were actually going for was, because within the Alec Bradley portfolio, what we normally do is we blend for flavor first, and whatever strength we can add, we do. Right. But with this, we wanted to really hit that line between strength and flavor, because as you add strength, you tend to lose flavor. So we were trying to get it to something stronger than with the rest of the profile, and still have that flavor that you know and love from an Alec Bradley.
All right, so talk about Bradley, the tobaccos you wanted to work with, because you said you had an idea in mind of the tobaccos you were looking to use.
Yeah, so like Alex said, we knew from the beginning that we wanted to be stronger. So naturally, you kind of gravitate towards Nicaraguan tobacco, specifically Esteli. So we have 3 different fillers, all are from Esteli. Also, double binder to make it, a little bit more complex, which is a Criollo 98 and a Corojo 99. And then the wrapper is also Criollo 98.
We pulled in some tobacco from Honduras to add that sweetness that you're getting from it.
Right.
But the rest of it is Nicaraguan tobacco to give it that that earthiness.
It's definitely an earthy cigar.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. You can definitely get. It's tough when you say earthy. It's tough to really explain what that is, but when you taste it, you know it.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a tie. When you see a tie, you say, "I love that tie." Alan, little so-so on the tie. I got to tell you. But aside from it, you just know it.
Yeah. Am I your wingman? I mean, am I your Ed McMahon?
Listen. Somebody's got to bust your balls, because I know these guys aren't.
No.
Okay? So someone has to.
My man, my wife raised them right. They put me in my place.
Oh, dude?
Yeah.
No. They're not putting you in your place, Alan.
All we do is bust balls.
Okay, that's good. In a good spirited way.
With love. With love.
Exactly. Just like my dad used to do with me back and forth in a loving, kidding gesture.
Absolutely.
Which is good. which is good. So this cigar, again, started off a little bit of sweetness, more earthy now, but it's still, I'm not getting the power just yet. I'm only a half inch in, so I'm sure it's going to change.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
This
you
cigar
went
is
through,
pretty complex. It'll probably change 2 times on you throughout the cigar, and you'll get some different notes throughout the entire thing.
so how long was the process from the time your dad said, you guys are on your own until the final cigar was ready for production?
About a year, right?
Yeah.
Well, when we started blending, it was about 6 months to get the blend down, but the whole process was probably about a year process.
And I think you said, what, 5 iterations until you got it the way you wanted?
Yeah.
So when the
5,
first
6.
few iterations came in, what did you think? What was it about that cigar, the iteration you didn't like?
The mouthfeel of it specifically, it left a lingering flavor that we were just not in love with. The cigar was good up front, it had nice power, it had nice flavor, but there was just lingering flavor that just wasn't working, and we couldn't figure out what it was for obviously 4 other iterations to be able to get rid of it, to get that smoothness now that you're getting from that cigar. It added a harshness that just we could tell was not right. Yeah. And then now what you're smoking now is...
So real quick, so from the time that you got the test blend, you made the comment, how long till you got the next prototype blend?
I'm not walking away from one of our customers.
No, you got to sell. Go ahead and sell, Alan. Make yourself useful. Come on.
What was the next one, Mike?
So how long from that time that you got the new blend?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks later, you smoke it, and then the second round comes in, and you say,
It's
not there.
Yeah,
Not there,
like
yeah.
we started off with a very good base blend. The flavors that we wanted, but the strength may have not been there. So then we try something else, and then it's too overpowering, and then we try something else. And
the first iteration of it started with all Nicaraguan tobacco.
Okay.
And then we had to start. We took away some. We added some Trojes, some tobacco from Trojes and Honduras, and that balancing it out is kind of what helped us get us to where we wanted to be.
And then when you finally got the last prototype blend and you smoked it, you said,
this is it.
bingo.
Yeah.
Good.
That was it.
Yeah.
And then you went in and gave one to your dad.
Yeah, we looked.
Absolutely.
And what did you say, Alan?
Well, I didn't want to tell him up front my thoughts, in all honesty. I absolutely loved the blend,
Right.
but I had to question them, right? So I said, are you sure this is it?
Right.
Are you sure this is what you want? Is
Play
this-
devil's advocate.
this
Make
is-
them prove why they
Yeah,
came up with it.
tell me why this is it, basically.
Right.
Because I didn't want to necessarily give my blessing, even though I absolutely love the blend. And I said, does this speak to you? Is this what you want to represent you?
Right.
And they were very confident in their answer and said, Dad, this is it. And I said, I agree. Even to the point that I did say, if you decide not to use it, I'm taking the blend.
That's what I was going to say.
That's a good compliment.
Yeah.
So you were going to steal it.
Well, within the walls and within the family, I'm not
So
sure.
let me
it's
tell you guys, let me tell you how
Borrowing.
corporations work. You do all the work, you do all the heavy lifting, he takes the credit and gets the accolades. That's corporate America, baby.
I
You
love
just
that.
learned the
Yeah.
lesson.
That's-
You just learned the lesson.
I love the way that sounds.
Did you like that?
I really do.
You know, everyone can say, Alan, great job, man. Another winner.
Woo! I did a great job.
You know what? I'm getting a little bit of Scotch maltiness on here now.
Yeah.
You know, just that maltiness flavor when you're having a little Scotch.
Yeah. And I think
and-
that's the coating
Yeah.
on the palate. That's that Nicaraguan. When you say, how do you describe
Right.
it? That's what that is.
All right, so you were going to mention something, Bradley.
I
earlier.
don't remember.
My apology, I kind of interrupted your train of thought.
No worries.
But just jump in and
Did you want to go over some of the artwork on the band?
Yeah, let's talk about that because the band artwork, and I'm going to show this, is a little bit different than what you see. I'm going to put my reading glasses. Alan, we didn't have to do this when I first met. You know
You
that.
stop bringing me into your world.
Listen, don't give me this nonsense.
You're older
don't
than
give
me.
Don't give me the bullshit. No, you're not. You're 2 years
I'm
older
not
than I
talking
am.
about physically.
Oh, please.
Okay.
Don't give me the mental bullshit. Come on, cut the crap. So let's talk about this. You got the TV kind of screen in the back
Yeah.
with the fuzz.
With the fuzz.
Okay.
Exactly.
I like the A and B. It's very contemporary.
Yeah.
I like it. In fact, when you guys take over the company, you may want to change the logo. Just telling you.
So,
Just a hint.
Maybe put Bradley instead of Alec at the front. What do you think about
Bradley
that?
and Alec. I listen.
Something I've been talking about for a
Interfamily
long
war.
time.
Exactly.
I've been talking about it for
How about
years.
Bradley and Bradley?
Oh, it's even better.
B&B. How do you like that? You can have Alec and Alec.
sounds like attorneys.
Well, no, Alan, Alec, and Bradley, attorneys at law. Yeah. So I like the band on here. It's kind of cool because you got the little test patterns on the side.
Yep.
You got the Alec Bradley real logo on the back.
No, that's still Alec and Bradley on the back.
Yep.
It has an
A and B.
ampersand right in the center.
And the foot band has Alec and Bradley on the bottom.
Alec and Bradley. I like that.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Very, very cool.
And then
Look
we
at the packaging.
Got
on
the
there.
box, nice clean box with the almost like label, you know, like what you see on
yeah, one of those printing labels.
exactly.
You see. Yep.
And then it's hard. It may be
Simple
hard to
but
tell.
effective.
Exactly. It may be hard.
Alan would have never thought of that.
Well, because he equates everything to a laxative.
Oh, no.
Gentle but effective.
You know, it's amazing how
I don't like
quickly
your
you knew
love
about
life.
that. You know, it's
A lot like your love life,
It's
Dave.
amazing. Listen, I'm not married. I get it all the
Gentle but
time.
effective.
Wait. I'm not married. How long have you been married? 29 years?
29 years.
So basically, I've been getting it 28 years more than you have.
Well, this interview is officially off site for my wife.
No, we
And
open
then,
it up.
Yeah, but also
Alec
you
and
can see
Bradley,
the,
A and B.
The A and B is
D-Boss.
yeah, D-Boss or Police Shade, and then open it up and
Beautiful. Very nice packaging.
Thank
Now,
you.
tell me the sizes suggested retail.
Robusto Toro Gordo,
Yep, 3 sizes. I like it simple.
and then suggested retail Robusto is $8.95, Toro is $10, and Gordo is $10.95.
So, you know, in that nice price range, medium spot, which today is really where the medium price range is, in that 8 to 10, 8 to
Yeah,
$11
absolutely.
category. Very nice. And I'm telling you, this is getting, I know you say it's going to get harder, but a little more robust.
You're not going to taste the strength. It's just going to hit you.
They're just going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's very nice.
It's not a cigar where you're
Great
gonna-
draw on
you're
this
gonna-
cigar.
Thank
Very,
you.
very nice. Hero,
First time I smoked it.
how long have you both been in the company?
I just came up on a year. I started 2 weeks before last IPCPR.
And where'd you go to school?
University of Central Florida in Orlando.
I went to Orlando, just down the street, I-4 from Tampa. How about
Yeah.
you, Alec?
I've been with the company full-time for 4 years now.
Okay.
Before that, I was working during school. I went to UCF for my first 2 years.
Okay.
And then FIU, I graduated from FIU.
Gotcha. So both stayed in state and close by?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But far enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Far enough.
Yeah, gotta have the distance, you know.
So tell me what's the, of all the lessons you've learned? You've been there 4 years, 1 year.
Yeah.
What are the lessons you've learned in business and the real world that you didn't learn in college?
Question everything. And first off, what you learn in the real world versus college is, I mean, you learn. I went to business school and
Yeah, everything
learned,
works perfectly in a
Yeah.
case study in
Yeah,
school,
exactly.
right?
Yes.
Right.
Nothing,
They don't
yeah.
teach you
Things-
about dealing with
yeah.
customers and dealing with credit and
Yeah,
finance and
exactly.
banking and production issues.
Absolutely.
You know, they don't teach you that.
Not
Things
at all.
are never going to go the way that you hope that they do.
Right.
And question everything.
Yeah.
Those were the two things that I definitely learned.
Okay.
Rule number one, and the only rule, relationships.
You got
Most
it.
important thing that I've learned since day one. Since I was
And
a kid,
professors
and-
don't teach that.
No.
They really don't.
No.
Did you guys ever see the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
I can't say that I have.
Gentlemen, one of the classics of all time.
All right.
So here's your homework assignment from the general.
Gotcha.
You got to go on Netflix or Prime, watch Back to School.
Okay.
Rodney
Gotcha.
you know Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, of
He's
course.
hysterical. There was a scene in Back to School where this is a guy who's like worth hundreds of millions, wants to go back to college because he never went to college. So he's sitting in a business class and his son is next to him. So the professor, this British guy, says, "Today we are going to be learning about a fictional company and we're going to create a business plan and a proposed budget." So of course the professor comes up and says, "Now, here is our sales and our expenses." And so Rodney Dangerfield says, "Huh, yeah, right, sure." And he says, "Is there something you want to say?" And he said, "Well, you forgot you got to grease the unions because the unions got to get their take. And you forgot that you're going to have the drivers you got to pay off. Oh, and by the way, if you think you're going to pay $1,000 an acre, you're out of your cotton picking mind. You're going to spend $10,000. And he says, "Yes, but for this purpose, this is how we're going to be doing it." And the moral of the story is, there was a guy that was really in business that went back to school and saw that everything the professor was saying was total horseshit.
Yeah.
Okay? So you guys hit it on the head. Everything in business school and everything in college, that's the one thing I remember coming out saying, wait a minute, they didn't teach you about this, 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 and this, but you got to learn it in the real world.
Exactly.
And I always say, I really think if you'd have more professors that actually came from business, like if you guys said, "Hey, I'm going to go back at FIU and teach a class," you'd say, "Hey, let me talk about relationships, the importance. Let me talk about dealing with banks. Let me talk about dealing with production." Because those are, and employees, those are things they don't teach you. So those are the biggest things you've learned.
Absolutely.
So what are the things now, you're going into your second year and fifth year, what do you want, what's your goals the next year? What do you want to do with the company the next year?
Blind faith.
Blind faith is good.
Focus.
Continue working on the Alec and Bradley. We're working on an early 2019 release, so we want to continue going with this kind of style with our cigars, with our artwork. Keep it different, keep it fresh, and really just grow the Alec and Bradley profile as well as the Alec Bradley.
Are you
profile.
both going to be doing events with Blind Faith across the country?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because your father, lazy, sits on his ass all day, doesn't travel anymore.
That's what
But he
we're. That's
did.
what we're here for, though.
That's what you're here. You got to do all the heavy
you know,
lifting.
There's that misconception that my father is, Alec Bradley.
Right.
So now it's time to learn that that we are Alec and Bradley, and
Well, and he did the travel for a long time.
Exactly.
He still does limited events, but now it's the young bucks to go in and
Exactly.
go travel the country and so on.
Yeah.
Because basically, look, your father sits, in the office, goes to the bank, goes into the vault, counts all the cash, and says, "Hey, where are my sons? Where are they doing events?"
Do you realize I left for 5 minutes, or you've just been berating me even when the
No, we have
being
not.
here?
We actually talked about what they've learned in the real world compared to learning in college. And you saw the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
Sure.
Remember the scene where the professor says we're going to do this fictional company, and he goes over all these projections, and Rodney says, "Hey, yeah, that's all bullshit. You forgot to add this, and grease the unions," and it's all true.
That is true.
It's totally true. So they're talking about what they've learned differently compared to sitting in a classroom. And they're all going to be traveling now, meeting the customers, building the relationship with retailers.
And they've been doing it. I think when Alec has been on the road quite a bit, and Bradley, when he first started, I think his first trip was 3 weeks in Europe. Right? Your first trip?
Oh, what a tough assignment.
Someone had
3 weeks in
When you have
Europe.
to room with George Sosa, yes it is.
Wait a minute, you made him room with Sosa?
Yeah.
I didn't want to make it easy on him.
Holy.
Yeah. So
He's-
now you're.
Listen,
you're,
didn't you know that child labor laws prevent torture to children?
Bradley came back, he said, that was the longest 3-month trip I've ever taken.
But the good news is you got new jokes every day.
Oh yeah.
Every day.
Unlimited ammo.
All right, let's talk about a couple of cigars that are my personal favorites.
Absolutely.
There's one that is a cigar that I don't think gets the love that it should from people, but it's a great stick. You relaunched it, repackaged it, the Alec Bradley Max. I love that stick. It's a, what is it, a $6, $7 cigar?
Yep.
Forget the price, it's one of the best cigars you make, and people just tend to overlook it because of the price point.
Well, we repackaged it. We actually brought the pricing down. We negotiated better tobacco buys. The cigar is a little bolder, a little fuller, same profile. We dropped the pricing a little bit on it, I think a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and just rebranded it, made it a little more modern. But Max was one of those hits. Remember we talked about Tempest and how it put us on the map? Max was what did it for us before. When I first launched this product, I had every cigar at retail for $5 when we first launched it.
I remember that.
And someone said to me, why would you do it? And I said, because I can.
Right.
And we sold it like crazy.
Tons of them.
Yeah, like crazy. And then, every brand runs a life cycle. And so when we redid it, we said, let's make the price point more attractive. Let's give the cigar, because the consumer's palates over the last 8-10 years,
Changed.
right, have changed.
Right.
So we upped the blend a little bit, a little bolder.
But it's still incredibly smooth.
Absolutely.
Just a soft cigar, pleasant price point. You can compare this to a $20 cigar. It's a great cigar.
Yeah.
It really is. And I love the Max, and I give it love because, again, it tastes great. And it's one of those cigars that kind of gets lost in the radar because you have a very vast portfolio.
We do.
By the way, remember the triangular cigars that you had?
Sure, trilogy line.
Trilogy. You bringing those back? You should bring them back. I'm telling you.
Stay out of it. Did you tell them?
No. I told you that's a great cigar, and I remember you had the rack with the little triangle. Type. It was great.
I wear a trilogy hat around the office in protest to get the cigar back.
It's a good cigar. I'm just, listen to the young bucks. Right?
Yeah, some.
Some. Now let's move over to. We got to talk about Family Blend because that's got a special relationship to your dad, to George Sosa's dad, Ralph Montero's dad.
Yeah.
Because really, you made something that they would love.
Yeah, I mean, it was very difficult to find a cigar for an older population that had been smoking cigars for decades. And ultimately, we had one cigar in one size. And we said, listen, we can, you can have any cigar you want as long as it was a 50 by 5.5.
Right.
That was it.
That was it.
That was it. And then Family Blend ended up evolving into the lineage, because now my kids were going to come into the business. Alec had just come into the business. And so we kind of relaunched it as in, it wasn't just Family Blend about our fathers, but it was also about the next generation's opportunity to come in.
Right. It's a great cigar.
Thank you.
Medium plus, a lot of flavor. Great price point, too.
Really smooth, very kind of creamy in its style.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. There's another cigar that I'm looking for that I'm going to find. Well, we can't leave without talking about Prensado. I mean, that's another great stick.
Yeah. Coming off the success that we had on Tempest, that we talked about, we wanted to take kind of the basis of what that blend was and kind of kick it into gear a little bit. We box pressed it. We made the changes that we needed to. And Prensado, right from the beginning, had really nice momentum. And then it took the #1 cigar. And that was a game changer for us. So.
And this is probably on the, I would say medium plus to full. A lot of flavor. Definitely not for a novice connoisseur.
Well, I'd say that if you enjoy cigars and you want something that's got a higher level of sweetness to it, natural sweetness to it, Prensado is a great cigar to go to.
All right, now let's move along to a cigar that I love, Mundial.
So, Mundial is either global or worldly, right? And so that's what Mundial means. And this is a cigar that's also very special. This cigar actually, from the time that we started to the time we hit the market, was almost, I think it was around 5 years. From the time that we started working with it, we just didn't have exactly what we wanted. We were still running the business, and so it was always in and out of what we were doing for about 5 years until we hit the market. You can see it got a 92 rating.
Predominantly Honduran with a little Nicaraguan.
Correct.
But very, very nice. Again, a very sophisticated cigar.
That's correct, and that's what we were looking for. So we didn't want it to be too over the top.
Right.
We wanted something that somebody would sit down and be able to enjoy with a whiskey or or a rum that would just hold its own.
Let's talk a cigar that does hold its own. I'm on the board of directors of the Florida Association of Broadcasters. We just came off our convention 2 weeks ago in St. Petersburg, and I always have a Cigar Dave cigar and spirits night each night of the convention, 2 nights. So this year I called Ralph and George and I said, I want to do something. I need a cigar that's going to be mild to medium, that novices can enjoy, that smoke once, twice a year, and experienced connoisseurs. So I selected, where is the Connecticut? Wait a minute.
The American Classic or?
No, the Connecticut.
The Sungrown.
Oh
wait, just Connecticut?
No. Here it is, Connecticut. People love this cigar.
Yeah.
It's extremely smooth and creamy. Even the people that like a full flavored cigar love this cigar. We featured this cigar in the Tempest, but a lot of the guys that I know that like a fuller flavor, they said, I like this Connecticut, nice and sweet, great hit.
Yeah, so what happens is a lot of times, Connecticut is the most predominant cigar wrapper sold, that lighter, creamier color. And a lot of times there's just not a lot of flavor to it because the wrapper's thinner and it's more delicate. You can't do a lot of fermentation. But what we decided to do was kind of take that concept and kick it up to the next level, or kind of the Alec Bradley level for us, and that was increase the flavor content to it. So we took something that was light and smooth, added more flavor, more sweetness to it, so that really anybody who wanted to enjoy a cigar would find it satisfying.
Right.
So we
kind of really is.
We took that Connecticut mold and kind of turned it upside down and said, let's keep it light and mild, but with a lot of flavor.
Well, and the thing about the cigar is that it's just, again, if you're having a special occasion, you're having a baby, you're getting married, you're getting divorced, whatever the case is, this is a cigar that you hand to people that people will say, hey, I smoke once a year or occasionally, it's great. I smoke newer cigars and I still like the flavor because, again, it's not offensive to anybody. It just satisfies a wide variety of palates. So it's indeed a great cigar. One of my favorites. Can't go wrong, and I've got a,
No, I'm enjoying it. Actually, obviously I have a lot of cigars to pick from.
Sure.
I keep Connecticut at the house.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Can never go wrong.
No.
Now, Master Chief, let me bring in your VP of Sales. First of all, let me get this correct. We want to get this on camera. Master Chief George Sosa, proper salute.
What a nice salute.
Well, what'd you think? I'm an amateur?
No,
you don't think I'm going to give you a Barack Obama weak salute? I'm going to give you a Donald Trump snappy salute.
Come on, you got the owner of the company. What do you need a schlepper here?
First of all, wait, hold on a second. You're going to have an ascot, man. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm also a haberdasher consultant.
He's playing with my ass, Scott.
How the hell does this thing come out?
Don't worry.
No, you got to open that up a little bit.
All right.
Open the button.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Open the freaking button, and you got to show the. There you go. Now show the ascot a little bit. There you go. Look at that. See, that's how you wear an ascot.
Thank you, John.
Master Chief, do I have to teach you? Did you wear ascots in the Navy?
Or better known as a dickie.
A dickie. There you go. By the way, I heard that you had roommates on your European trip. You had one roommate, Bradley.
I did.
And he liked the trip, but sharing the one single bed in each European hotel wasn't so hot. He wasn't so happy about that.
It was a rite of passage. It was his first trip traveling. His father said, take care of him, so I took care of him.
All right, I want to... Now, there's very few clean jokes that Master Chief can tell on the air. Tell me the joke you told me earlier about the sparrow.
First of all, how did you afford Dave Chappelle on the camera?
Hold on a second. You know what? Dave Chappelle wanted to moonlight a little bit, so there you go. He's out in Vegas. The lounge act didn't work.
A guy is camping. Goes in front of the judge. Judge says, I don't have any tolerance for this. You ate a California sparrow. They're a protected species. He goes, I'm giving you 30 days in jail. and a $60,000 fine. The guy almost passes out. But tell me what led up to the problem. Because, Your Honor, my son and I were camping, we get lost. He goes, 3 days later, we have nothing to eat and a canteen between us. The sparrow landed. I took my slingshot, killed it, we barbecued. He goes, you know what, that's a pretty tough story. I'm gonna not pass sentence. But tell me one more thing. He goes, sure. What's it taste like here? Somewhere between an American bald eagle and a spotted owl. See ya, I don't want to interrupt.
Master Chief, you know what? That is the perfect way to end.
Wow.
You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, just, that's the great thing. You got great people that work in your company. It's really a family atmosphere. I come down and I just walk in. I don't get announced. I just kind of walk in like I'm Mishpalka and part of the family.
Absolutely.
And walk into your office, Ralph Montero, George, smoke a cigar, Jonathan, your kids. It's just a very warm, friendly environment. And the same thing when people are coming here. Let's take a quick shot. You can see people don't sit, the retailers aren't sitting for 2 minutes or 5 minutes writing an order, leaving. They're sitting, schmoozing, talking, because it really is a relationship type of a business, and the relationships that all your people have with your retailers very close by.
Look, Dave, there's a lot of great cigars on the market. And so what we try and do better is create relationships that are long lasting. And so, hold on. So, to do that, you can't. It's not a 5-minute order, right? It's about finding out what the needs are for our tobacconists and what their customers' needs are. We want to find out what the consumers are asking for. We want to find out how their families are doing. We want to find out what we can do better. So, if you don't sit down and have those real conversations, what are we about? I mean, just the cigar? It's got to be more than that.
Well, when I come, I grab a few cigars, I have a little Nespresso,
Right.
We kind of schmooze with everybody, shoot the bull, which is really, to me, when I come down, that's what I enjoy. I always look forward to my trips coming down to see all of you, especially you, and I've got 2 kids that are involved. So it was great to have you, as always, Alan,
Thank
and
you.
then to see Alec and Bradley Rubin, and in fact, I see Alec selling right now.
He is. He's sitting with one of our top retailers in the country. Guys who they're great supporters of ours, and really what's happening now is I think these guys are setting up events.
Which is great.
They're getting the boys on the road.
Which is the key, because you know what? It's the next generation of relationships.
Absolutely.
So when you're, sitting on the beach on your island, with your libation, your scotch, and your cigar, feet propped up, and you look on your smartphone, you say, man, another great day of sales. They're doing all the work, and I'm getting all the credit. It's a beautiful thing.
I'll tell you how it's going to work. This show, I think, ends on Tuesday, and I'll be doing that on Wednesday.
You'll be doing that Wednesday, and they'll be doing all the heavy lifting in the booth while
Which
you
is
go
what
back.
they should do.
Well, shit, you know what? You did it. When you were back, 20 years ago, you schlepped and did all the heavy lifting, and now you kind of have that transition where you get into a phase where now it's their turn to kind of pay their dues.
Well, and I can tell you
and you didn't
this.
make it easy for them.
No, and I'm going to tell you this is just you and I talking, and that is I'm not ready to step away. I mean, I absolutely love this industry, and I love the people involved in it. I mean, think about the friendship that we have over the years over cigars. And we have that in a lot of places with a lot of people. I love this industry, and I love what it's provided to me, and I'm not ready to step away, and I don't think I'll ever retire, but it's really nice that I have such a good group of people that I work with every day that have taken the ball and run with it, so if I want to go away, I can, and I don't have to worry.
Right.
And so they've removed the worry, and now the boys are going to do their thing, and they're going to challenge me. It's funny because they don't always agree, which is really important. And I remember getting a call from Alec, and he said, Bradley and I are not agreeing on certain things. And I said, great. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, if you agree on everything,
you should have hearty discourse, but work it out amongst yourselves.
Correct.
Get consensus.
And that's what they're doing. And so for Blind Faith to come out with something they both agree with, I knew that it was going to be successful.
Right, and you got a long team. I mean, you've been there for, was it 21 years?
22 years.
22 years. Ralph has been with you, I think, since the beginning.
About 20 years.
20 years. And George now, 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
10 years?
Yeah.
Jonathan's been with you a long time. I see you brought in Eddie Ortega, who's been around for a long time. He knows the business,
Eddie's
great guy.
an industry veteran, and
Absolutely.
we were, I caught him just in a period of time where I said, hey, we need your help.
Right, and you build a good team and you let them do their jobs.
Absolutely.
Which
My
is
job's to get out of their way.
Exactly,
Yeah.
But the key is you have the faith and the trust in them to allow it to happen. That's why you come out with these great cigars and great packaging, always coming out with things that are innovative and unique. And you can't listen, you know, in this industry, it's always the latest and greatest. You can't just sit and say, we're going to just do nothing for the next 2 years. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't, because you fall off the map. And you know, you have to be, and by the way, the greatest part of this industry, one of them is the ability to be creative.
Right.
That's exciting. So I love that part, and I'm always challenging the boys now because they'll have other things that they're working on already. So.
Well, we've got a mutual friend, Jerry Weinstein.
Yes.
We go way back.
Yes.
Jerry is a longtime family friend. I'm going to interject a personal story since Alan and I are good personal friends. Personal story, Jerry, long time, my parents were at Jerry and Linda's wedding.
Wow.
Okay?
Yep.
And so from Buffalo, and my father and his father-in-law, Gene, were best of friends. We're in the National Guard together.
Wow.
Used to go to Camp Drum up in Watertown every summer, and my dad was in the medical corps and Gene was in the dental corps. And so Jerry loves cigars, and his office used to be next to your office, what,
Correct.
two offices ago?
That's correct.
And all of a sudden, you come in one day and say, you know, there's a guy that we both know. And I said, who's that? It's Jerry Weinstein. Great guy, comes in, I give him, you know, I sell him his cigars. You do special favors for him. Jerry's a great guy. And he's still, every time I see him, he goes, I see Alan all the time. I love Alec Bradley cigars. I smoke too many a day, but I love him.
First of all, he smokes a lot a day.
He does.
But
too
I
many.
love him. And also I have to tell you, his son Brian is in all the time.
Brian's in, right,
And he
exactly.
comes, really, sometimes he comes to pick up cigars, sometimes just to visit.
Right.
And we sit down and talk. They're a great family. I can see why you guys were close. You know,
Absolutely.
I can see that. But there's so many connections throughout the cigar business.
Right. Well, when you think about it, I mean, here it is. I've known Jerry, know you, and then all of a sudden, again, the 3 degrees of separation, all of a sudden, you've got that connection.
Correct.
And we see it so many times.
Yeah.
And you know, I always say, people ask me, what's your favorite cigar? And I say, it's not about what my favorite cigar, it's who the person I'm smoking the cigar with. And people say, if there's one person, who would you want to smoke with? I always say, my grandfather, Pape, because he loves cigars, and to have a chance to smoke a cigar with him, and it's just like you and I come down, we're friends, we smoke a cigar, we catch up on what's going on, we have lunch, we talk about new things. It's not a business relationship, it's really pleasure. And every time I come down, I never say I'm going on a business trip, I'm going on a pleasure trip, because that's what it's all about.
That's right. I can tell you that I think one of the reasons, really the impetus that I think that brought the boys both into the business was after they were of legal age, we used to sit down in the backyard together and smoke cigars and talk. And at that moment, it wasn't a dad and 2 boys. It was just 3 guys sitting down talking.
Right.
And I got to know a lot about my boys, stuff that maybe they wouldn't even have told me. But over the cigars, we're there for an hour and a half, and we just got to really know each other as they were becoming young adults.
Right.
So it was really great.
Well, congratulations,
Thank
Mazel
you.
Tov on all the new cigars.
Thank you.
We've got the Alec and Bradley Blind Faith.
Yes.
We've got the Alec Bradley Magic Toast.
Yes.
And we've got the very limited Fine and Rare, and of course all the other great Alec Bradley that we've gone through. Alan Rubin, Alec Bradley, as always, my friend, good to see you.
Cigar Dave, you're the best.
Always fun. We have much more coverage coming your way, exclusive video coverage from the 2018 Cigar Retailers Convention in Vegas.
Thank you.